All righty. Good afternoon, everybody. It's 2 o'clock Central. We are here with an amazing man. He's not just a great salesperson. He's a great human being. He's a great husband. He's one of the nicest people I have ever met. He is an incredible real estate agent, and he's done some super things over the last 23 years in the real estate business. And I'm excited for you to hear directly from him how he's been able to be so successful. It's time to own the phone. All right, it's Wednesday, and that can only mean one thing. We're here for another episode of Own the Phone. Excited to introduce my guest here. The man to my left, is the one and only Nieves from just south of Dallas. How are you today, buddy?
Yeah, doing pretty good, Wally. Good to be here.
Yeah, good to have you here, man. Let me just tell the folks a little bit about you. So Steven got into the business back in 1999. He was in New York at the time. He was Rookie of the Year when he first became a real estate agent, and then he moved to Texas and has lived roughly in the Dallas area for, basically the better part of the last 20 years. It's interesting. I'm doing my research. By 2014, Steven had sold 1,400 homes. But since 2014, the last 6-7 years, he's sold an additional about 1,400 homes. So his business has really had like a hockey stick like growth over that time. He's a published author. He's been a co-author on 2 books. Top Dollar, as well as Live Your Life with No Regrets, which he wrote with his wife, V. Marie. We call her V. And he currently, the first book he was part of was number 8 on the top seller list of Amazon. And his second book, Live Your Life with No Regrets, actually has a 5-star rating on Amazon. So he's also a speaker, a coach, a team leader, and just an all-around amazing guy. So good to have you here, man. Yeah, so I've had the good fortune of knowing Steven for probably the better part of the last 10 years. So we started working together probably around 2010, 11 when the Titanic, I think, was close to hitting rock bottom, right? And so right now. So anyway, let's do this. Let's tell people a little bit of how you got started. We talked yesterday. I always like to give people a bit of an origin story. So, why don't you tell folks about, where you grew up and, how you ended up in real estate?
Yeah, absolutely. Originally from New York City, and growing up after high school, I was an entrepreneur, owned a limo company, and moved out to one of the boroughs, Staten Island, New York, and decided it was time for a new career, and answered the ad and started doing real estate. The first 2 years in real estate, I worked for an investor that bought about 30 or 60 homes in New York City, and so I was working directly for the investor. And then in 2002, decided to move to the DFW area, and been growing my business ever since then. So
here you are, and doing a great job at it, I might add. How did you end up picking real estate from, being in the limo business?
Yeah, so I knew I wanted to do something different, and I didn't pick real estate. I actually got into real estate by mistake. I answered the ad and said, make $100,000 a year, no sales experience necessary. So I qualified. So I went over there for the application, and I saw myself in the real estate office working for an investor.
What a good mistake, huh?
Yeah,
how did you had said when you were a little younger, you were kind of hanging out with a tough crowd. And how did you get to the point where you decided you weren't going to do that anymore and you really wanted to become an entrepreneur? Because that's got to be a tough decision, right? When you're hanging around people, because we know the people you hang around are really, who helps mold you as a person and whatnot. So how did you decide to, get out of hanging with the people you were hanging with who likely probably weren't going to take you in a good direction and start, getting into business and being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, growing up in New York City, just hanging out with the wrong crowd, like Wally mentioned. He knows my background, but I was part of a gang, and as soon as I met my wife, and decided to start a family, I said, it's time to change. So I actually left Manhattan and moved to one of the boroughs, which is Staten Island, New York, and that was my turning point. That was my moment where I started going to towards being an entrepreneur.
How do you go from being somebody who probably doesn't have a truckload of business experience and any skill sets to, to being, the rookie of the year, as a salesperson. I mean, it's quite an accomplishment, right? You figure, I mean, you had your limo business and stuff, but, you go into a business where you get very little training back then, not a truckload of training, right? And you're with a guy who's an investor who's not a traditional real estate guy anyway, right? How do you get to be the rookie of the year? How does that happen?
You work harder than anybody else. You get there before anybody else, and you leave after everybody else. And I did that day and day. And I didn't have a choice, Wally, because what I didn't mention is the reason I went into real estate is because I totaled 4 cars in 2 months for not slowing down. I was working, doing the 30-hour shifts, 36-hour shifts, and after the 4th accident, I said, "Oh, it's time for a change." And I didn't have a car, so the first 10 houses I sold in real estate, I had no vehicle. I set the appointment. They met me at the house, met me at the office. I jumped in their car. We showed property, wrote a contract, and I was able to buy a car after my 10th closing.
Oh my God! So that just goes to show you that there really are the only limitations we have are the ones that are in our mind. You know what I'm saying? I remember, my real estate mentor Brian Moses told us that he had I forget what kind of car it was, but one side was completely smashed in and the other one was perfectly nice. So when he would go on listing appointments, he would drive past the house and he would park the nice side so that when they came out, they could see the nice side of the car, not the part of the car that was all dinged up. So, right, where there's a will, there's a way, for sure. What brought you to Dallas? What brought you to the DFW area?
Yeah, it was right after 9/11 and planning to start a family. And we know we didn't want to raise a family in New York City. And my wife wanted to move to the Bible Belt, which is Texas. And my choice was to move to Orlando. And she won the coin toss. So we moved to Texas.
She wins every coin toss, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Doesn't she win every coin toss? Yeah. So it happens, right? So what did you stay and sell houses after 9/11? And like, did you stay there for another? It sounds like you stayed another year, or no?
I did really well because everybody was leaving the city and moving to the island. So I worked 8 months out of that year and I made $240,000 commission in the first 8 months of the year, and we moved in August 2002. So yeah, we did. Business was good. It just we needed to make a change, and sometimes you got to make tough decisions when you're making a change and want to do something better.
Right, but that probably prepared you for the Great Recession, right? I mean, you'd already gone through something that was, and even the pandemic. So you really, you're well experienced when the bottom falls out of the world, right? So which is really cool. So pick the DFW area, and you start with KW. Is that who you started with when you first came here?
Started with Keller Williams,
Right,
and got licensed and was ready to get started with Keller Williams, and I went to the broker and I said, "Okay, where's the book of business? Where's the list of names for me to call?" And she goes, "You have to go fish for yourself." I said, "What?" I said, "I just left. I just moved in from another state, and I had it really good at my old brokerage because they provided all the leads. And I come here to Texas, a new market, and they said you got to go market yourself. I didn't know how to market. I didn't know how to find business. I'm brand new to a new city, so I had to learn the hard way." Knocking doors. My first 18 listings was just knocking doors.
Really?
Passing out cards.
Wow. And, they call us Yankees down here. As you know, we Northerners, they call us Yankees, which cuts both ways for me because I'm a Red Sox fan. So calling me Yankees twice as painful. But so it's a little different, right? We talk differently. We talk quicker, faster. And so, what was your transition like? I'm saying, coming to a new area where you're, sounding, a lot different than the other people and have a different experience. How was that transition for you?
Yeah, it was an adjustment, Wally. I mean, it was definitely an adjustment. My wife yelled at me a couple times because I just remember having conversations and that, let's get to the point, and I would snap my fingers and I just couldn't help the reaction. But it took me a good 6 months and it slowed me down. So I control myself now. That's
funny. Yeah, you're definitely a mellow cat now, for sure. For sure. Yeah, my favorite thing was going to the grocery stores, and you're used to going through the line and people in line are talking to the cashier and having a conversation with them. I'm like, "Hey, my ice cream is melting here. Let's go." So I get it. So when do you feel that? I mean, so right now it's 1990. It's 2003 at this point, probably, right? Right. So you've been in the business 99, so 2001. So you're about 4 years into the business, going to your 5th year. how long were you here before it clicked for you? You know what I'm saying? Because 18 houses is good, but you know, you need, you know, in order to build your business, I mean, you're selling over 200 houses a year for the last 7 years. Like, you know, when did it click for you? You know?
Yeah, I think it was 2007 where I realized that I couldn't do it by myself, and I hit a lid. And Wally, that time, ironically, I think I hired you as a coach, and you helped me through that. So
Thank you.
And I started having to hire people and leverage myself, and started just working on the listing side of the business and hired buyer agents and assistants, and just started growing. But just educating myself on, you know, what I do to make it to the next level, you know, and to do more, you know, with, because I only have so much time, you know. I was capped out and selling, you know, 5-6 homes myself a month. You know, how do I get to that? How do I get to that 12? How do we get to 20? Well, we need it with leverage. We need people to help us get there.
Right. Yeah. And so you working like crazy hours when we first met too, right? You were burning the candle at both ends. You had administrative staff of 3. I think you had, remember you guys came to my house for dinner. You had like 6 or 7 agents, or lunch. Remember you guys all came over. And so you had a good sized team, you know, after, you know, 8 years in the business. So that was, you know, a great accomplishment. You know, and the reason I'm talking about all this stuff is because I know you had a fairly tough road coming in to the real estate business. It wasn't just, hey, you went to a place where you knew nobody and started a brand new business, you know, and fairly not even the same cultural lifestyle that you're used to because you're from a different culture in New York, right? So, I mean, and the reason I'm saying this is there are a lot of people that are in the business right now that have just gotten in that, you know, it's like getting on the highway and doing 100 miles an hour. You don't even get to ramp up, right? I mean, things are going so fast. So, you know, and I'm trying to think. So when you got here, the market was going really fast like that, 5, 6, 7. You know, beginning of 8, it was really great, and then all of a sudden the top it fell off the table. So now today, you know, by my math, I was trying to do the math. In the last 7 years, you've done just around another 200 homes a year. So from 98 to 2014, so in 16 years, you did 1,400 deals. And in the last 7 years, you did 1,400 deals, a little more, right? I think you guys were like a little over 2,800. You were talking with your team.
Yeah, about 2,100.
Yeah, yes, 2,800, right? Yeah. So what do you attribute to the fact that you've been able to sell as many homes as 7 in half the time that you did the first 1,400? What's allowed you to do that?
Yeah, experience and systems. You know, having the systems in place. You know, we have systems in place that helps us get to the, you know, get to the cream of the crop. We have a top 5 model that we use in our team that, you know, we concentrate on the people buying a home in the next 30 to 45 days. So those are who we fish for. We fish for people that are looking to buy now. And we put the rest of the leads in the pipeline. We run the ISA model where we have 3 ISAs in the office, making all the phone calls, setting up appointments, and our agents are primarily just following up and prospecting, showing properties, negotiating, and writing offers. You know, other than that, then the rest of the team takes care of everything else. So the systems just work.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's going well for you. I mean, you folks have been able to go on vacation pretty regularly, right? I see you guys, you know, and you know, I think do you have season tickets to every major sporting team in Dallas?
I go to a lot of football games and tickets to Rangers.
Yeah, I see tickets to Rangers. I saw you and I think it was what are your girls' names?
Me and Bella.
I think Bella, it was you and Bella were at a Stars game, and you know, so you know, which is good. So you know, you're able to create a great life and create great memories for yourself. What is your top 5 program? Can you explain that a little bit more?
The top 5 program is every buyer agents on our team. The goal is to always have 5 people that's buying next 30, 45 days.
Okay.
So if you don't have no top 5s, or only 1 or 2 in your top 5s, then you're actually hitting the phones pretty hard. You're calling 3-4 hours a day until you get that top 5. If you got 7 or 8 in your top 5, then we're slowing down the prospecting and we're servicing our clients because we need to get them into homes. You know, so right now we got 40 top 5s on our team. So I know I'm going to have 20 contracts in the next 30 days based on how many top 5s we have. Right. So I just divide it by 2, and I know I can pretty much know how many contracts we have. So.
That makes sense. 50%. Yeah. And so, and so it's a lot more manageable than having 30, right? The conventional wisdom is I'm gonna have the ISA try and find opportunities. So the ISA is kind of like gravy, right? So ISA is going to send you opportunities that are hopefully going to pop now, but in order for you to keep a pipeline, a lot of folks have the agents do 30, but you're saying top 5 continually, like having top five, one leaves, another one comes in. So every 30 to 45 days, you have at least 1 or 2 closings, right? Is that the whole thing? That's been working for you, right? At 200 plus homes a year. And then trying to think, you have a sales manager, correct?
Yep, we got a sales lead buyer's agent, and then 9 agents on the team. Yep.
That's amazing production. 200 plus transactions for 9 agents, right? That's 20 plus transactions an agent. That's great. What's the sales price now in like DeSoto, Midlothian, that part of the world? What's the average sales price?
Our sales price right now about 280.
When I met you, it was like 140.
Yep. It's like 126, 107. Average price range was 26. Yeah.
126.
Yeah, I remember in 07 it was 126 my average price range at the end of the year.
Yeah. When it's that painful, you remember that. So, so I want to, I know you've got some great strategies. If you're selling 200 plus homes in this market, and a lot of them are buyer deals, you've got some great strategies. One of the things I admire about you is how you and V and your girls have, done over the last, 4 or 5 years. In 2017, your oldest Stephanie passed away unexpectedly. I've, spent some time talking with you about that, and you and V did a bunch of speaking, and you wrote a book and whatnot. And I'm just, how do you, because a lot of times when parents lose a child, usually the relationship falls apart. You read about that a lot of time, but you guys have done the opposite. Your relationship's gotten stronger. You've got 2 girls. You've got a role model to people. I mean, I've told you many times how much I respect you and how I really value your friendship. And I've learned a lot just from you, because I've gone through a lot of crappy stuff myself, nothing like that. So how have you done it? Because there's a lot of people out there that are feeling the pressure right now, and they're not going through anything nearly as challenging as that is. How have you done it over the last 4 or 5 years? What's allowed you to not just survive, but thrive and have a great relationship with your wife and your kids and continue to have your business go so well? I mean, it's astonishing.
Yeah. Well, the top answer is, you got to make a decision, right? And we decided not to stay in pain. We decided to, be a victim and stay in that state of shock. So we had to keep going. Our faith is very strong, and we trust that everything happens for a reason, and that we trust that God has the plan, and just going through that whole deal is the reason I was able to go through that is because I lived my life with no regrets. We wrote a book about that, living your life with no regrets, and I was always present as a parent, and we did everything we can to the best of our ability. So when I got the tragic news, there was nothing in my mind saying I wish I would have done this more. Or I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have been a better parent. I wish because we live life to the fullest. I put my family number one before anything else.
Right.
So it helped us, continue forward.
And that's a huge lesson for people, because, and I was guilty of that myself. I became a real estate agent. I was fortunate. I sold 72 houses my first 14 months in the business, but I did it at the expense of my family. You know what I'm saying? And then going to prison. I mean, I was like, I don't want to die, because I feel like I had not been present as a father. You know what I'm saying? And I was afraid that something bad was going to happen, because I know that I didn't do my part. So clearly, fulfilling your obligation and doing a great job makes it easier to deal with some of the ups and downs that go along with that. And I know, like, what I know it wasn't any easier for you, but it did allow you to continue to be present as a father, be a good business person, be a good husband, and kind of not just that, but actually share your experience and encourage other people to do the same thing. So you really turned it into a positive, Yeah. So I admire that. So if you're listening here, I mean, it's not that he doesn't have bad days. We've talked before in the past. You're like, hey, I'm having a bad day, I can't talk. It's not that he and his wife didn't have trouble. That wasn't, was tough on their girls. But at the end of the day, they made the best of it. And it's like everything else in life. You make the decision that you're either going to let it kill you and ruin you, or you're going to let it use it as a way to learn and grow and not just become even better version of yourself, but also help other people at the same time. So I've always admired that about you. I was looking, is your book not currently available right now on Amazon?
It is.
It is? Okay, cool. So if I wanted to buy some copies for people, you'd sign it?
Yes.
All right. So if you're reading this, you want a copy of it, send me an email, Wally at phonesalesecrets.com. We'll get it to Steven. He'll sign it for you. Have V sign it, and we'll get it out to you because it's an amazing book. I got to read an early release of it, and it's amazing. So great thing. And living life without regrets is probably what everybody would like to do. In fact, there's a book by a nurse from England, I think, and the name of the book is the top 5 regrets of the dying. And one of those is that I didn't do what I wanted to do. I listened to other people and did what they wanted me to do versus what I wanted to do. So that's amazing. So how are you selling 200? How many, what do you got? You can hit 300 homes this year?
Yeah, we'll hit over 300. Last year we were at 282. We were a little shy.
You were 282?
282 last year.
Jesus. And so you're going to sell over 300 homes in a market where inventory is clearly down, that pendings are clearly down from the prior year. How are you getting your offers accepted? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's no different where you are than any place else. I mean, and for a home to be 280 grand in DeSoto, I mean, that's a big deal. And Midlothian's even higher, right? I mean, Midlothian prices have got to be closer to 400 or 500, right? Or more?
Yes, a little over 400.
So you're dealing with prices like everybody else. What are you doing? What's your strategy? Like how are we getting offers accepted?
Yeah, so but it starts with being selective on which buyer. We make sure it's a win-win. So we select the right buyer. We take the buyer, go through a consultation, let them know what the expectations is of the market. And we train our agents to win. We have a good relationship with a lot of the agents. They know who we are. We've been here for a long time. So a lot of them have a history of working deals with us. So they know that they're going to have a good experience if they accept our offer. But the first thing we do with the agent is actually we connect with the listing agent. A lot of people are, it's unbelievable of how many homes we sell, and I get 20, 30 offers and only one agent calls or 2 agent calls. Our buyer agents calls the listing agent and connects with them and actually build some kind of friendship. Hey, you got a great property, and what I could do to, what's your seller looking for? What's going to take to get this deal done? And a lot of times you'll be surprised. If you don't ask, you don't get. They'll tell you exactly what needs to. Your contract needs to be structured in order for it to get approved. So we do a lot of that. We do short option periods. Increase if the buyer is really good credit worthy, we'll go ahead and do 2%, 3% earnest money just to stand out. But the biggest is making connection with the other listing agent and getting them on your side to help you your client to the seller, because they have a lot of influence. The listing agent does.
Are you having your buyers get pre-approved subject just to employment verification, down payment verification? So there's as few stipulations as possible. They're like, hey, this person's getting a loan from us, and we just got to confirm that they have a job and they've got the money in the bank.
Yeah, we're actually taking it a step further. We actually getting them underwritten approved. Underwritten approved means they go through the whole loan process. Underwriter approves it. The only thing is pending is the appraisal, so we can close the deal within 2.5 or 3 weeks.
Wow, that's a big deal.
So you set yourself apart from the other offers they're asking for 30, 35, 40 days.
So where a lot of people are like, I've got 1 million buyers, I want sellers. You guys are like, we're going to get sellers. We have no problem with buyers because we've got such a high conversion rate, right?
Yeah.
What percentage of your business will be your 300? Sorry to interrupt. Your 330 buyers or your 330 sales roughly. Sure, how many are going to be buyers?
60%.
Okay, yeah, nice. Yeah, because you're not. I mean, you're still listing houses, but you're not listing them like you used to, right? I mean, you had a listing to what you were doing like 10 appointments a week at one point, I recall, right? 10, 12 a week.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're still getting in front of people. So we're thinking outside the box on listings. So, right now when we get in front of anybody that wants a market analysis, we're getting in front of them. And either we list their house and put them on the market and get them there, or we actually offer them a cash incentive to sell later. So we actually have
what does that mean?
So if someone wants to use our services in the future, we'll give them up to $2,000, and they'll sign an agreement with us that with a 50-year agreement that if they are going to sell their home, they'll sell a house with our team. So we're doing that up front. We're actually creating our business from 3, 5, 6 years, competing with all these Zillow and all these cash investors out there. We're actually taking these sellers off the market and committing to use our services.
That's genius. Did you say 50, a 50-year agreement?
50-year agreement, yes.
So you're saying if you're going to sell within the next 50 years, you agree to use us, and then how do you figure out if it's $2,000, $3,000? Would you just offer them a point, basically?
Yeah, we look at the price range and average days in the market and probability of it selling, and we come up with a number. We have a marketing program that comes up with the offer. Most people are getting anywhere between $700 and $1,800.
And I'm not going to ask you to give your secret sauce, but how do you get? I mean, you obviously have an agreement that they sign, and it's obviously a legally binding agreement. And do you agree to them that, hey, listen, I'm going to call you in 6 months. I'm going to call you in a year. Do you follow up the way you would normally follow up with the lead that you're nurturing? Like, what's the cadence there?
Yeah, great question. We stay in front of them. So now that they made this agreement, we market to them once a month. They get a market snapshot of their house that's all automated. And we're doing 3 events, 3 events through the year. Now that COVID's gone, we'll go back to our large picnic, get-togethers and movie theaters, and just provide things of value throughout the year, just to stay in front of them.
Right. And so where you normally wouldn't go on a listing presentation 6 months or a year out, you would now. And you're not so much worried that they're going to remember everything you said about where you're going to list their home. You just want that relationship, and you want them to say, hey, listen, you know what? There's $3,000, $2,000, $3,000, whatever in it for me to call you, because I know you're going to automatically get me more money for my home because I'm not going to spend as much with you.
That's right.
And you figure, if you're going to advertise and market, you're going to spend at least that much. I mean, what does it cost you to get a listing lead? It's got to be, usually it's somewhere between $900 and $1,500 anyway, right? To generate a bona fide listing lead after you spend everything. So why not give it to them? I love that. That's cool. And then is it somebody's responsibility to stay in touch with them? Is it the ISA until the agent's ready to go over? Is that it?
Yeah, we actually have a marketing team that keeps in contact with them.
And then what's your marketing? Nice. How long have you been doing that now?
We just launched it about 6 weeks ago.
Okay. So, but from even 6 weeks, has anybody already said, hey, I'm ready to sell? And
38 people signed in.
What?
Yep.
38 people have signed in 6 weeks. Has anybody listed with you yet?
No, not yet, but these are future buyers.
That's amazing. I think that's a brilliant idea, because it really doesn't cost you anything to implement the program, but and you don't have to pay them the money until it sells, right? So it's completely based on profit, right? Like either
we pay them up front. We pay them today to sign a 50-year agreement to do business with us when they're ready.
What? Okay, so it is an investment up front then.
Yeah.
So how do you make sure that they're going to sell? They have to have like a life event associated with that, like they're retiring or they're getting married. I mean, you have to have some stipulations. You're not writing everybody a big check, right?
Yeah, no, we're if you own a property, we'll have you sign a contract, and you sign a 50-year agreement that you will use us. There's actually a soft lien on the property.
Holy cow! That's how you protect your investment. Got it. Okay, because you're not like Robin Hood. You know what I'm saying? You're not like giving money to everybody. All right, well, good for you. That's a great idea, man. That's awesome. And I'm assuming you have like a proprietary name for that program when you talk to people.
Yeah, it's the website right on there. It's sellwhenever.com/Steven.
Okay, so that's why. Okay,
yeah.
I love it. That's amazing. Good for you, dude. You are a pioneer. You're like it's amazing. So that's the sell whenever. Let's talk real quickly, because we're going to change it to the scroll to this. We got about 5 minutes left here. So you've had, I think if I recall, like, is Josie still working for you?
Who is?
Josie or ISA, wasn't it?
No. So we have Becky and Shane.
Okay. But you've had people like Josie work for you a while. Josie's husband worked for you for a while, right? Like you seem to have pretty good retention for your agents. What do you attribute that to?
The biggest thing is culture. We protect our culture and with everything we've got. And any team member now that we bring on is we hire and let go based on somebody being humble, hungry, and smart. And that's what, when we hire somebody, either you're humble, hungry, and smart. If you got those qualities, then you qualify as being on our team. Humble, that it's not about you, it's about others. We're here to serve others. Hungry, that you want to produce and you want to be, production, and you hold your role on the team. And smart, you make smart decisions. So, and unfortunately, we have to let somebody go. It's going to be based on they lost their hunger, they're not hungry, or they're not, they haven't made smart decisions. So, and people enjoy it. And we, everybody on our team knows each other's name, their spouse's name, their kid's name. We get together. 4 years ago, prior to COVID, we took the whole team on a cruise. We shut down for 4 days.
I saw that. Yep.
Day cruise. 2 weeks ago, I had everybody in my house for a poolside party, and we do things together as a family, and we help each other out. The culture in our office is there's no splits. So if somebody goes on vacation, and I highly recommend that people take breaks and enjoy the time with their family. It's not unrealistic for somebody to come back and have 1 or 2 or 3 executed contracts under their name, because we help each other. So another agent will go show the property, get them on the contract, and say, hey, by the way, one of your clients just got executed. So there's none of that cutthroat business where you find in a lot of brokerages.
Okay, I'm getting old and hard of hearing, but did you say there are no splits at your office?
Yeah, we don't do splits if you help another agent, right?
Oh, so, you're just saying,
when someone's not available, somebody else will jump in, help your client, and they'll keep their own split on that.
Because everybody benefits from it then that way. Yeah. So you figure, 330 deals, you're going to do 66. You can do 60% of 330. So what's that? 18. That's about 196 transactions, right? Right. Roughly 200 transactions that are going to be buyer deals for 9 agents. So that's 21 deals an agent, and they're getting about $4,100. So your agents are making somewhere between 70 and 90 grand a year, right? In that range.
More than half my agents make six figures. They're doing about 35 or 40 properties a year.
Oh, so okay, that's great. Why would you go anywhere else? You get to go on vacation. You get to hang out at the boss's nice house with a pool and a cookout. They take care of your clients. I mean, that's incredible. Incredible. Wow. So if somebody wanted to find out a little bit more about your team, they would go to stevennieves.com.
Yes.
Right. And that's where they can find out a little bit more about it. Do you have any more room on your team for people?
No, not really. We're very selective. We're full right now.
Okay.
Yeah, we 10 agents, so there might be some room in the future. But
okay, so they can come and get in line. I got you. Yeah, because you don't want to have a team of 40 agents, and you kind of lose a lot of the culture you have now. I got you. So what's your market area right now? Can you just kind of give us an idea where you're covering right now?
Our office is located in Cedar Hill, Texas. So we cover Mansfield, Arlington, Grand Prairie, Cedar Hill up to Lancaster, and then South Ellis County, Midlothian.
And you still do DeSoto, yeah?
DeSoto, yes.
Awesome, cool, dude. This has been amazing. It's just not only just good to catch up with you. We've been talking a while. Well, we talked a little while back, but just to hear how well you're doing and that your business is doing well and that your family's doing well. I'm like so happy for you. I love you and I appreciate you immensely. Anything that you want to talk about? Anything you want to share with anybody before we go here? I mean, it's a crazy market. Any recommendations? Or any final thoughts? Kind of the Jerry Springer final thought, but without the fighting.
No, the biggest thing is, guys, if you want to grow, is you gotta be hungry. You gotta know your why. You gotta have a growth plan and then take action. And that's the book we wrote. Every chapter it starts with your why. Have a growth plan and take action. So many people have knowledge. So many people know what to do or have the knowledge, but you don't take action. And it starts with taking action. It starts with doing, and you got to do it every day. You got to ask yourself every day in the evening, what did I do today that got me closer to my goal? And you should have an answer. If you don't have an answer, then you wasted the day. Just be a go every single day.
Yeah, and certainly, in light of some of the challenges you've had recently, there had to have been days when you didn't want to get out of bed, or that you didn't want to leave the house, what I'm saying, or do anything. But sometimes you just have to do it anyway, And so that makes sense. And so the book is Live Your Life with No Regrets, Steven and V. Marie Nieves. It's on Amazon. If you'd like a copy of the book, signed copy by Steven and V, go ahead and send an email to Wally at phonesalesecrets.com, and we'll go ahead and get that copy signed and sent out to you. Man, it's been great. I'm super having you here. I appreciate you. That right there is Steven Nieves. I'm Wally Bressler, and this has been On the Phone. Hey there, this is Wally Bressler, and on behalf of my guest today, I'd like to thank you for joining us for this episode of On the Phone. If you'd like more information on how to overcome sales call reluctance, procrastination, and self-sabotage, and become an expert on the phone, go to www.phonesalesecrets.com. And if you'd like my free course on how to overcome sales call reluctance, please go to www.phonesalesecrets.com.